is if it's a multi-family property.
So, as activists who organize around issues that affect poor people and issues of poverty, how or what tactics should we use, or what tactics have been used to address, in particular, the eviction crisis as it pertains to seniors on fixed income and the inability they may have to keep up with a rising rate in the units that they dwell in?
I could say, talk about eviction.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say,
Yeah.
So in Detroit, we have a Detroit Eviction Defense, kind of, it was formed throughout Occupy, and it's still very, very active. You're shaking your head, so you must know. Those are the folks that have really kind of nailed it down. They get teams to go into court with folks, and they shut down in front of their residents' home, and they put dumpsters out and lock down, and they're hardcore, and they show up, like I said, they show up teams in court and try to fight for it, and there's a whole bunch of lawyers that help with all of that. And so in Detroit, that's how we rock.
As an organization, I don't think they're partnered officially with Poor People's Campaign, but a number of folks who are part of Detroit Eviction Defense are working with the campaign.
So some of the most marginalized communities are new immigrants. For instance, Bengali immigrants to Hamtramck. How, if and how is your campaign engaging those communities who, because they're so new, might kind of be afraid of becoming activists?
I can't. I mean, I don't know much.
Yeah, I think certainly on immigrants who are undocumented and vulnerable to deportation, which is true in a number of communities. The campaign is very that those are not folks who would be doing direct action for sure, and we would even be cautious with their presence at public demonstrations. At the same time, the campaign those issues are part of the fusion politics of the movement, and each of the 6 weeks that the 40 days represent, there'll be 6 different weeks of action, each with a different theme, kind of broadly, so that local issues, the water board or immigration issues can fit into those weeks and be a focus. And there is one, I'm trying to remember, I don't have it in front of me, but there's one that clearly gathers up immigration, deportation, DACA, kinds of issues.
Could you tell us a little bit more about what the campaign of civil disobedience will actually look like, and what kind of time scale we'd be looking at if we'd want to be involved, and how we can help?
Direct action part, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I might as well, give it to him.
The particular actions have not yet been announced. State committees have responsibility for figuring out what those will be. They are coordinated and simultaneous, so we're basically looking at Mondays each of those weeks. One of the precursors of the Poor People's Campaign that Reverend Barber was directly involved in was the Moral Mondays movement. And in those cases, they were going into the State House in Raleigh each week, filing in, doing a service in the rotunda or a celebration, a circle, and refusing to leave at closing time. That kind of thing, I think, is going to be, that's one of the actions that will be common. The trainings will provide role plays and help people think about particular, how they might react in particular circumstances. We're asking people to do 2 trainings. One is one of 6 or 8 trainings that are happening in advance, and then there'll be a short nonviolence training each of those action days. And it's really at the action day where the character, the particulars of the action will be spelled out, so there'll be a little bit of a surprise element.
When watching the second video, I was just thinking about the Jimmy Boggs quote about how you have to love your country in order to change it. And that's something I really struggle with, and I was wondering if all of you could speak to the difficulty of being really enraged with this country and believing that it has a future, and that future can be completely different, because especially with its foundings being so brutally immoral. Yeah, sorry. It's really hard to think about what, like, in America existing that I would actually want to, that I could morally be a part of, or feel comfortable, like, identifying with. So I was wondering if you all could speak to that.
Well, I guess I'll start. Speaking to that question that you gave, which was a very, very good question, by the way, that went out with it. Had to turn it on. The core elements of the campaign, like we said, such as militarism, materialism, economic devastation, ecological devastation, is all something that hit home to me, starting with, just like I said during my presentation, having 2 sons in the military. I closely identify with the ideology of, when you come from poverty, you do that because you think it's a way out, it's a way to earn money, and you believe you're serving a country that serves you, when in actuality that's not the case. You see more military recruiters outside high schools than you see college recruiters on graduation day. As a parent, that bothers me. I was always poor, but I always had this ideology that my parents gave me of the so-called American dream. If you go to school and you work hard and you get a good education, and this will happen, and you'll get this, and you'll be able to live the American dream. Well, I'm here to tell you that I'm unemployed and I'm sitting here with a bachelor's degree. So that American dream it angers me, because I felt like it was a facade that was fed to me all my life. And at the same time, it's a dichotomy, because I also feel like it angers me that what I believed America to be is not what it is, but I also know that if I fight hard enough, maybe I can be one of those catalysts that change it. So that's kind of like what keeps me going, is that maybe if I can just get one small change done, I feel like I've accomplished something. And, there was an old saying to sum it up that my grandmother used to tell me: no matter what you do, try to leave this place better than when you came here when you leave.
Well, when you get a chance, I would also like to address her thing real quick.
I think they were also going to,
Oh, okay.
others were going to also answer that.
If she wanted to go first, she could, either way.
Okay, well, I understand how you feel. At one time, I was watching television, and I saw yet another racist thing. And so I was talking to God, and I said, I know I'm supposed to love all your kids, right? He said, yes. And I said, and these white folks are your kids too? Are they? Yes. And I said, I'm supposed to love them, all of them? Yes. And I said, I don't know how I can do that. And the answer came back: start with the ones you already love. So start with the things you already love, but this country.
Just a second.
I think that that's why this is called the Poor People's Campaign, a call for a moral revival. There's there's a moral compass that needs to be changed. And we can't do this work without a great amount of love for people. You know, I consider myself a patriot of this land, right? Not a patriot of this country, right? So I can love the land, I can love the people, but I don't have to love capitalism. I don't have to love poverty, right? I can fight against those things, and I think that all of that comes with a great sense of love for people and the land.
Just a second.
I'm down with all these answers. I'm thinking of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. To the question of, can you be black and American? Malcolm said no, at least initially said no, and was a black nationalist. Martin Luther King said yes, but that involves the kind of transformation that we're talking about, that the Langston Hughes quote embodies. America never was America to me, but I swear America will be, right? That's the line from his poem that brings those together. And I take heart in the fact that Malcolm and Martin were truly, in a way, both becoming more deeply radical and moving toward one another at the same time. At the time that each were killed officially.
There's this gentleman with the red shirt on, and this gentleman with the gray.
Another question over here.
And then you saw 1, 2, 3.
I think there's some time I should start asking questions. So this question is a little, I play devil's advocate. I don't agree with Martin Luther King's philosophy at all. I think it was whatever. But my question is, as a young black male born up in this generation with no resources given to me to succeed or anything like that, how exactly does your campaign help me achieve? And pretty much because just coming to these events, I don't mean to offend nobody, but I see it's groups for immigrants, there's groups for women, there's groups for sexual things like that, but no one has addressed the issue of the black man in the competition. I'm not spoken of when you watch television, when any of these groups mention things, and then when I was watching it, not picking on anybody, when I watched that, I saw King, I saw maybe a preacher, which isn't getting receptive in Detroit. You see it's a church on every corner, yet they don't do anything. So it's like, how exactly would I go into my area, the east side of Detroit, and how would I actually go to them and say, maybe we should get involved in this? Because I don't know exactly how I can communicate to them, because technically, I would be a leader of the black community, because there's no black males there, especially in Detroit. So, especially when it comes to Duggan, I actually feel like maybe we should endorse a young black male, because Duggan isn't in office unless you have a young black male. Just so that, whoever can answer that.
Who wants to answer that? I can try. Okay.
So you're speaking directly towards the young black male. First of all, you can start by letting people in your community, other young black males, realize what they're up against. Start by letting them know that every 3.5 seconds, a young black male is killed by someone in law enforcement. Let them know what they're up against so they can prepare themselves to fight against it. Let them know that there are answers out there, and we want millennials and other young groups of male, female, both, to come to the forefront of the fight. We are not trying to leave out like any group of people. That's why we have a millennials committee, and although females are welcome as millennials on that community too, we are looking for some young African American black males to get up to the forefront, because we have to get across to this current generation that the reason you are here is because there were people when they weren't considered millennials, but they were young folks, were fighting for you to get to where you are. And you have to continue to pick up the fight. One thing that I've noticed, and I have several millennials, is that a lot of them are have this sense of entitlement, like it's all about me. It can't be about you. No man is an island.
The reason I said that because, like I said in the video, King got assassinated, Malcolm X got assassinated, Brian Hampton got assassinated, Marcus Garvey got assassinated, W.E. Du Bois would have got assassinated if he didn't go to Africa. What I'm saying is, as a black male growing up in the city, because I don't like Obama either, because Obama was king if he went to Hawaii, he didn't grow up in the grassroots. How exactly am I going to get to a level to where I can actually do something when there's no resources and then you say, be a leader, and all our leaders get killed? I don't hear no Mexican males speaking anything, no Arab males or anything. And that's why I'm saying the issue I'm having is I'm trying to get more people to come, but when I speak to the community, like I heard Hamtramck was brought up. I grew up around Hamtramck, I have no issues with it. But I have never heard an Arab speak out. Yeah, you get deported, but I get out there, I'm gonna get shot. And we've been seeing that in history. The whole civil rights movement, there was hangings. So what exactly am I supposed to do? Because I feel like I shouldn't have to do anything. It should be these other groups coming out saying, maybe we should support black people. Because we've been saying it for 50 years. This was 50 years ago we said come together. So you want me to say it another 50 years?
And I absolutely agree with you. That's why under the Poor People's Campaign, we have so many different branches that go off. It's because we're trying to bring all these different cultures of people, all these different ethnicities, and these different organizations together under one umbrella and saying, look, your fight is my fight. You are my brother, I am your sister. It doesn't matter if you're from the black community and I'm from the Middle Eastern community. We all have this one, when you break it down, I don't care where you're from, the vast majority of people in this country, when you look at it, they all have one thing in common, and that's most of us are dealing with some type of poverty. So if we can come together and realize that it doesn't matter what color you are, you're poor, I'm poor, you're suffering, I'm suffering, and let's work together, then we will start to institute that change.
What, okay. That's real, right? What you're saying is real. Like, black leaders do get shot and taken out, and the whole system is against them. That's why this movement has to, it can't push anybody out front as a leader. And we absolutely do have other people of color as part of the campaign, and definitely black males. But we're not trying to put any leaders, right? We're organizers. All of us are organizers. So that way, and we're gonna have to take care of each other. And we're not gonna be able to operate from a fear standpoint. At this point in time, we're gonna change the world. If we don't, it's right. We all know the situation we're in. So I hope that helps as far as, like, we're not gonna push any, like, I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? We're all gonna organize together, and we're gonna fight this, and that's real. That's a real concern.
I think we only have time, unfortunately, for about 2 more questions. I know you already had it. You had already picked.
We're over time.
We're over time. So, we really don't even have time for 2 more. We don't have time. We gotta figure out what we're gonna do.
Well, I know the gentleman over here was trying to speak, and you guys had said you could.
Yeah.
So let's go with him and then see if we want to after.
But it has to be short.
The best, for everybody, make it short.
Okay.
That's right.
Trying my best to do that. So, it's a comment or to a lady over here. So basically, well, I might not be the best people to say about American patriotism because I have a Chinese passport, but basically, I would argue culture, economic, and political issues are interrelated and interconnected, which means that patriotism, or even you can call it nationalism, don't necessarily to be culturally conservative. If patriotism means anti-imperialism, then I think it's fine to be a patriot. And I would argue the new left, the cultural left, is an American creation. Because of the 68th generation, because Martin Luther King, because people here basically stand up and against materialism, imperialism, and also whatever capitalism is about.
And that is something very crucial for us to consider about the coming movement as well, because Rockefeller is not a socialist, but he invested in healthcare and other issues because there were labor unions, there were organizations for the people who fight against capitalists. And statistics show that basically the expansion of the current policy paradigm is a brutal class struggle. Because the labor unions are crushed, because the leader was assassinated, because all these organizations of this 68th generation are somehow in trouble. That's why we can push the thing to this far. And I would argue there is a future if people, an alternative future for the American poor people here, because people here are organized into me. That's my response. So it's possible to be a patriot and also be an American citizen and to love this country and land.
I think to respect the comments and the space that people were responsible for, we should formally close now. Can we invite each of you, if you have a word or phrase you want to send people off with, each of three of you?
A word or a phrase to start
A
off.
word or a phrase to close us out with.
Join up.
Join up.
I'm a militant. My motto